to Allergy Dragon's YouTube channel. My name is Martha. I'm a specialty diet and allergy chef. And on this edition of Allergy Dragon's Lair, I have a really, really special guest. But before I jump into that, let's go ahead and do our legal disclaimer. And that is obviously that I am not a doctor. All the opinions here are of our guest and of ours is like our personal life experiences. And please make sure that you advise your doctors on the best treatment for yourself. Thank you. Okay, legal disclaimer is done. So now we get to jump into the fun part. Okay, so I'm super, super excited. In fact, I've been so excited that I have messed up this intro about 4 times. So, who knows? But we're going to dive into this. So I've said many times that I have worked with really great RDs, registered dietitians, for those of you who do not understand what the RD part is. And so I'm really happy to have a really great one with me today. And no, that's not to say that she's the only great one I've worked with, but she's definitely up there in the top 10. So I have Elizabeth McIntyre with me, and she's got all kinds of things, really fantastic things, but she happens to be a dietitian who has a really awesome website and has created this amazing company. And like I said, we actually worked together for almost 2 years, wasn't it, Elizabeth?
Yeah. It was about 2 years. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to let Elizabeth go ahead and introduce herself a little bit further, explain to you what, she's gone on. She has got this great blog called Appetite for Balance. It's also the name of her company. And so if you could just tell us your background and the journey to create.
All right. Yes. Okay. So I guess I'll start from the beginning, not to make this like long and drawn out, but I went to school at Transylvania University in Lexington and got a degree in exercise science. And after that, I was not sure what I was going to do, but I knew that I always loved nutrition. And so I had never even heard of a dietitian before. And so I was talking to different people and they're like, why don't you go to school to be a dietitian? And I was like, oh, okay. Like, what's that? Well, come to find out, to be a dietitian, you have to go back to school and get another, you have to have the undergrad degree in dietetics. So I went to UK and got another undergrad in dietetics. And then I completed my internship through UK. So to become an RD, you have to do an internship. And then after that, you can sit and take your exam. So I did that. And then my first job moved me to Louisville. So I'm currently in Louisville and I worked at Kindred Hospital. And that's where I met Martha. We have some good stories, good times there.
Just a few.
Yeah. But I never thought that I would be like in the clinical setting, I guess. And surprisingly, I was for a while. And so during my time there, I just thought a lot about starting my own business and really focusing more on my passion. So when you're in the hospital setting as a dietitian, most of the time people don't really care about nutrition. They just don't really care what you have to say. And so that just kind of was discouraging. And that kind of fueled me even more to start my own business. So I am a dietitian that focuses on intuitive eating. And we can get into that a little later, like what that is and whatnot. But basically, it's just anti-diet. So weight loss is not the forefront of what I focus on. And so I started Appetite for Balance. When was it? Last summer. So it's been about a year. I work one-on-one with clients and help them just create a positive, more like better relationship with their food and body. And the reason that I started this whole business and kind of went down the intuitive eating path myself is because for all my life, I've struggled with body image issues myself, body dysmorphia, which is like thinking that I'm bigger than I am. Let's see what else have excessive exercising. And then even to a point of, I was never diagnosed with orthorexia, but I'm pretty sure I had it, which is like just like clean eating. You won't let anything like bad or unhealthy in your body. And so, it's kind of crazy. A lot of most dietitians, it's a high number, have some type of like disordered eating. So it's prevalent, it's out there, so many people diet and, that aren't dietitians. So yeah, I feel like what I do is fun. It's great to hear different people's stories and know that like we're not alone. So yeah, that's kind of where I come from, I guess.
Awesome. I even got to learn a few little things I didn't know about you.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's always good. It's always
Yeah.
good. So I know that we have talked, we've worked together extensively. So we've been through some ugly times. We've been some really great times too. And so we've talked outside of this, and I've had negative experiences. Other people have had negative experiences, and other people have had fantastic experiences with dietitians, nutritionists. And a
Mhm.
lot of people have a tendency to group you all together and think that you know everything about allergies, or you know everything about everything that has to do with food, regardless of, like cooking it to going and farming it. I mean, I'm just saying some people have
Yes.
got that, oh, you know everything there is to know about food. Whereas I know now, working with registered dietitians, that you don't all necessarily know everything about food allergies. It really depends on the focus of your studies, which I
Yeah.
find really amazing. So like I said, I've been guilty about that myself. So how important would you say it is to make sure your dietitian or nutritionist that will meet your needs? Like how do you go about determining that?
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good question. Yeah. So, gosh, people, as soon as I say I'm a dietitian, they're like, oh, well, what do you think about this? What do you know about this? And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. Or like, I also have a side job where I work with adults with mental disabilities. And so
Mhm.
I really like that. It's fun, different than what we're talking about. But they always come to me asking for like GI stuff, what's going on? And I'm like, can we get a GI specialist? I don't know. So yeah, I'm like, why don't you, ask your doctor, kind of like what you say.
Mhm.
Because food allergies are not something I know a lot about. And you have actually taught me a lot about them. We go over them briefly in school and stuff, what they are and what like anaphylactic shock is. But otherwise, I don't know. And I don't have any food allergies myself. So something that I can try to continue to like research and better understand myself. But yes, there are lots of dietitians that vary, a lot of them. Some of them are kind of I feel like dietitians get a bad rap of like being the
Mhm.
food police.
Mhm.
And so I feel like some of them do fit that stereotype. And there are others like myself that are opposite of that and don't. So I think like if you're meeting with a dietitian for the first time, dietitians are kind of, if they're a good fit or if they know what they're doing, are kind of interviewing you in a way because, you want to make sure that your relationship, you guys can work well together and that you can meet their needs. So they're kind of interviewing you. So I challenge you to kind of interview them as well. Like, hey, have you ever had this situation? What did you do? Or have you ever worked with someone who has had this allergy before? Kind of interview and see, what they know. But also I think if they are a good dietitian or a good fit for you, they'll make you feel comfortable. They will make you, feel good about working with them. So I think it is important, like for myself, that I'm very transparent, with my clients or patients and tell them, what I can do for them. And then, for an example for myself, sometimes people will come to me with an eating disorder and I am not certified in that. I think that a dietitian that is certified is better recommended for them. So I'll refer them out. And, if a dietitian can't meet your needs and they know that, they should refer out to someone. And it's not because they don't want to work with you, but you deserve better care that another dietitian, hopefully that specialized in that field, would know. So
Mhm. And that's why I work with a lot of RDs themselves too, because a lot of times they'll be like, okay, listen, you need to go talk to Allergy Dragon, Martha, whatever I get called at the time. And because she can help you in this and I can help you with this. So that's why I do like to work with so many RDs, because I do get a lot of referrals that way, but it's really fun to work with them because a lot of times they'll come to me and be like, da, 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 and start talking about diet. I'm not a dietitian. Um, I've learned a lot from dietitians like Elizabeth, and it's fun that we both learned from each other, but I can't always help you. So yes, I think if those are fantastic points you made on that, the answer is fantastic, ma'am.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So I think one thing we talked about when we used to work together, and we still do, and I think it kind of goes into what you're talking about now, like what you do in life with your business is like, and so with food allergies, we have to sometimes, limit what we can have. And so then you're trying to bring things in for nutrition, but also for, variety. And I think a lot of people are like focusing on what they can't have, or eliminating things from their diet and that kind of thing, and to focus on it. And it's really not about that. And I think that that's, to me, a little bit what intuitive eating means. To me personally, I don't really know that much about it. So what does intuitive eating strategy mean, and how do you help people with that exactly? Kind of, I know it's a little broad question, but
no, I mean, honestly, like exactly what you said, really. I feel like food allergies and intuitive eating can go hand in hand. Because I'm sure if you have food allergies, you're like, well, I don't know, like all foods fit, no, they don't. When you have an allergy. So, like you said, finding those foods that make you feel good, whether you have an allergy or not. So that's what it's focusing more on, like your own internal cues and listening to your body. Are you hungry? Are you full? What sounds good? Are you thirsty? What movement feels good? What movement doesn't feel good? A lot of people associate like working out and exercise as being in a gym and you have to be as sweaty as you possibly can. But really, you could just go on a walk, or if you, I don't know, like to canoe, or just like something random like that. Gardening, there's so many different forms of movement that feel good as well. But so yeah, intuitive eating is anti-diet, like I said, like focusing on weight loss, but just like working on your relationship with food and your body image. Almost everybody that I know has dieted. I'm sure, you have dieted, like everybody's dieted. And it's because we feel like we have to change our bodies. Like diet culture, which is everything that embodies dieting, and honestly just our culture today, focuses on, being tiny and being small and like this unrealistic standard of beauty. And so we diet to try to like achieve that. But most of the time, you could lose weight and then you gain it back. A lot of the diets aren't realistic. You can't be keto forever. It's just, this is not healthy. You can't do that. And so these diets leave you feeling, one, like you're a failure because the diets fail you, or you fail the diets, but really the diets fail you. They make you feel guilty and just shameful, and really they just leave you feeling hungry. So, so to me, it's just not worth it. I mean, it has taken so long for me to get to this point, and I feel like with intuitive eating, it's kind of like anxiety or depression. Like, it never really goes away, but you learn how to manage it. And so I feel like diet culture is always going to be present. So it never really goes away, but you learn how to like manage those negative thoughts that you have about your body, or you learn how to not be triggered to binge eat, or you learn, that there are no good versus bad foods, but all foods, provide nourishment to you, or memories or emotions. So like food is connected to so many different things in life. So it's like sad to miss that, if you're dieting and not getting to celebrate different things. So there are 10 principles with intuitive eating. I can go over them, I guess, really quick. Okay. They are: reject the diet mentality, honor your hunger, make peace with food, challenge the food police. And, that'd be like some dietitians. Discover the satisfaction factor, feel your fullness, cope with your emotions with kindness, respect your body, movement, feel the difference, kind of like what I was saying earlier, and honor your health with gentle nutrition. So if you had food allergies, obviously, you'd work through all of these, because that's just kind of like what you do, because each principle builds off of each other. But I feel like honor your health with gentle nutrition would be a place where you would probably spend a lot of your time in with these principles, because kind of like you said, Martha, like, how can we change that narrative of like, oh, I can't eat that, because, life or death. I mean, that's a valid thing, but it's like, oh, I can't eat that. But instead, like, what foods make me feel good? So what foods won't cause a reaction? And kind of just switching that from more of a negative to positive.
Mhm.
So just applying that kind of with everything. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I did a good job explaining what
I think you did a really great job with that.
Thanks.
And then how you help people with that,
Oh
you
yeah.
answered that as well, to a certain extent. I mean, like you said, you do counseling and sessions
Yes.
and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And I'm sure you customize it and that kind of thing for what is actually needed for your client, because that's what any good nutrition or dietitian would do.
Yes. So that's one thing. Yeah, I work currently right now, I work one-on-one with clients virtually. And like I said, like usually we'll start with like the first principle, which is reject the diet mentality, and work through it. But say you come in and you're like, I'm having a really bad body image day, and you just like talk with me about it, then I'm not going to be like, okay, well, hold on, we need to go back. No, like we'll talk about your body image and what to do when you're feeling low, or how to like realize you're feeling on those days that you're feeling good and confident, like think about that. But yeah, it's all very individualized. Everybody spends different amount of time in each phase. Sometimes you could be in like the making peace with food phase for a year, and that's the thing with intuitive eating is there's no timeline. You can't fail at it because each thing is like a new experience. You're just learning more about yourself. So it's good. Yeah.
It is definitely good. I really wish this had been around a long time ago before I had to deal with some of my, because everybody I think has some sort of issue with food to a certain extent, whether it's because of food allergies or because of some trauma you may have experienced. In my case, it was trauma that I had when I was younger.
Yes. Yes.
But I recognized it in my 20s. And then so that didn't hang up, although, because it was the biggest thing for me was like to finish my plate was what was taught to me, and eat it regardless if I liked it or not. And so it was like, honestly, when my husband was going to propose to me, I ruined the proposal because we went to a restaurant and I was like, ooh, I don't like this. And he just said, well, go order something else. It was like one of those all you can eats, and you can order from, it didn't have like a bar, but it was like you had to order like something. And I just cried,
Oh,
started crying. So
no.
I did. I ruined the whole proposal. But anyway, it's okay. We just celebrated 28 years. We're still together. But
Okay.
yeah, I did. But that was like my emotional trauma with food. And it,
Yes.
it it took me to realize that, because, one of my family members was constantly on me about, you have to do this. I bought it, you better eat it, type of thing. And it was almost threatening.
Yeah, that's what I work through with a lot of my clients. So I guess in our one-on-one sessions, I would say it is a little bit like therapy. No, I'm not a licensed therapist. But we kind of dig into those like tough conversations of like, okay, like how was it growing up? Were you bullied for your weight? Like, did your parents put you on a diet? Yeah, were you part of the clean plate club? So many of our ideas about food are formed at such a young age. So it's so interesting to be like, oh wow, like yeah, I did have to do that when I
Hmm.
grew up, or when I was younger, and now I still do that. So yeah, and most people don't get to that point where you are, Martha, where you realize like, oh wow, some people are still, they've been dieting for 40 years and are still a little lost. So I
Yeah.
hope that I can help them realize, that you can make peace with food and feel good about it.
Hmm. I think you do. And I love the fact that you're very real about it. And we've talked before about this, previously working together, whereas like some people will look at somebody and they assume because you're smaller than them, or you've never had a body image problem, you don't understand how it feels to be so overweight, that kind of thing. And it's because it's a visual thing for a lot of people, and they have that mindset, and you have to kind of help them work around it. And I think that with your blog and everything, that you really do show that, because I've actually talked about you on Allergy Dragon before. when because you were at the land when I presented there, and which was the Louisville Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, and we were actually speaking because your blog had just coming out, and I'm actually going to be talking about that too. Like one of my favorite blogs was like how to stop hating your body, and we had taken a picture with a group of us that had been in Kindredland. And when I saw the picture, I had a bad body day, and all I could see was my belly. Like, I didn't see everybody that was in the picture. I didn't see how fun it was. Remember the memories. It took me a second. And like that blog came out like about that same time, right there in May when we did all of that. And so I find it essential outlet for me to release, blogging to me, this whole thing that I've started doing, my company, has become vital to me because it helps me release, but also connect with so many people.
Yeah.
So I've referred that blog, and like I said, talked about, you on this show before. So how important do you think it is to blog, and what is your favorite part to write or express?
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. It makes me feel good. Because yes, like I said, like I have been in a smaller body most of my life, but I have struggled. I mean, I've hated my body for most of my life too. So, I think everybody struggles with that. But yeah, so that's good. So thank you for sharing that. But blogging, I have a love-hate relationship with. I hate it because I am a perfectionist, and I want it to be perfect and all that, and I'll spend so much time on it. And I need to take a little bit of my own advice that I give to my clients, is that there is no such thing as perfect. And I think that it's important that I don't make it so perfect that you can't like hear my tone or my personality. Or I feel like that is one way that I am pretty personable, is through my blogs, is because and vulnerable and real, because I share a lot of my experiences as well. So I guess like the perfectionism part is the part that I hate, but I love that I get, and I'm sure you probably feel the same way, like our passions, you get to just type away. And sharing on social media, you have just only like 250, you can't go over. Sometimes I catch myself like almost writing a blog post on a caption, and I'm like, whoa, I'll just write a blog on this. Obviously, I'm passionate about this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. And so many people have come from different places, and I'm sure like this is the same for you, and been like, I love that blog, or thank you for writing this. And I don't know, just kind of validates that what I'm doing is a good thing. I think though, I think my favorite blogs have been about exercise and like movement and finding joy in that. I used to run because I thought I had to run. So like I'd go eat dinner and then go run. And I'd be like, well, this is my medicine, I need to go run, and like use that as my excuse. But now looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so toxic and obsessive and not healthy at all. So I have found joy in other things. Like I love to play tennis, and I used to play tennis growing up, and then now I've picked that back up here in Louisville. I go on walks. I used to think walking was like, not an exercise, but it is. And so I go on walks. But yeah, just writing about that and different ways to move. And I've had people say like, wow, like this is really inspiring. So I think that's been my favorite so far. But there are a lot, I don't know. I went through all my blogs today, and I was like, gosh, I don't know which one's my favorite, but I think any of the ones with like gentle movement are exercises.
I think that's good. Oh yeah. No, you're fine. That's good. I think that I love the fact that you always say movement versus always constantly saying exercise, because just a body in motion stays in motion. And that's something I've always kept with, because that I was told at 40, I would probably be in a wheelchair, and I'm 46 and I'm still fighting. And so for me, movement is huge. When I first found out about the celiac disease, for me, I was over 400 pounds because I did not present typical. Not everybody's typical. And so for me, like, I'm still very heavy, but I'm not 400 plus pounds heavy, so for me, my aspects, I have to like live there and look at it. And so to me, moving is very important. Like you said, walking is a triumph sometimes. So I
Yeah.
think you have to have those movements that bring you joy. And like for me, honestly, days I don't have to use my cane makes me very happy.
Right.
So so yes, I love the movement ones as well. um so do you have plans or goals for in the future for Appetite for Balance, like that you can share with us, like things that you're planning on doing?
Yeah. I like I said, I currently work one-on-one with clients right now, but I am hoping, I don't know, we'll see. I don't want to say yet because I am planning a wedding and just doing business and all that is a lot. But I'm
Yeah.
hoping maybe by the end of the year I will have a like 8 or 10 week program, kind of like to go at your own pace kind of thing, but each week will be a different principle. And I'm hoping to like provide journal prompts and questions and like a little video module. um and hopefully there'll be like other people so I can start creating like a community of this, because like I said, so many different people I mean, I don't know anyone that hasn't dieted or had some bad, I don't know, vision of food, or their body image. So I feel like having that community to like just pump each other up is important. So, go through the 8 or 10 week program. And then at the end, there'll be like a maintenance group, and everyone can, support each other or talk about, things that are going on. Cause like I said, I feel like with intuitive eating, it's like ups and downs. It's not linear. You're not going to be like, okay, I'm never going to die, have the thought of dieting again. I mean, I would hope that is not what happens, but I just don't think that's realistic. So that is what I am hoping. So we'll see. But now since I'm talking about it, you guys have to keep me accountable. Yeah. And then I'm also working on becoming an intuitive eating certified counselor. So as a dietitian, I can talk about intuitive eating and counsel from that approach. But um, obviously, I would like to become a counselor, and so that way I can, fully, I guess, know everything or try to know everything and be up to date with everything, I guess. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Just a short list.
Yes, I know. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, can I do all this before December? I don't know.
If not, you should have time afterwards, after the wedding and all that and
Yes.
stuff. But yes, congratulations on the soon to be wedding.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. So do you have anything else that because I know I kind of cut you off a little bit, anything you wanted to add on or make sure that we knew, or anything that we didn't cover at all that you think?
Um, I guess I just wanted to like talk a little bit more, I guess, about food allergies. Um, and that I believe that you can like use the intuitive eating approach to food as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said earlier, all the time I'm like, all food's fit, but obviously, you know, don't eat any food that you're allergic to. Or I'll say, the only things that this dietitian like says that you shouldn't eat is anything that smells and anything that you're allergic to. But I think there are ways that you can like create, flexibility with eating, with, looking up different recipes that, fit within your dietary restrictions, like, what you do, Martha, like exactly what you do. If a certain type of cookie reminds you of your grandmother and those memories, but you can't have it now, like, okay, how can we recreate that cookie to taste as similar as we can without that ingredient or food that would harm you? So, making it fun. I think we can do that. And like, you know, coping with the fear of food and, all these different emotions, because food can trigger all of that. So I think that intuitive eating and food allergies can go hand in hand. So yeah, just kind of a little tidbit.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely it can. And that's one of the reasons you're here, is because, we're more than our allergies. We're human people. And then if you have allergies, then yes, it's definitely intuitive eating, you're going to have some type of trauma involved with food, especially if you have an anaphylactic reaction to any food. You have trauma there. You've been with me enough to know that there's been times where I've had reactions that I've literally not ate for almost a day or two because I just was scared to eat.
Yes.
And so those are trauma things that you have to like get over, and you really need people to be there on your side to help you work through it. And that kind of thing. And making I was eating a bag of chips and you were like, it's okay, just eat the bag of chips, at least you're eating, type of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get it. And yeah, definitely hand in hand. And yeah, that you can recreate recipes, and you've actually had my no bake cookies.
Oh,
You had quite a few other things I've made for you, but
yes. What was that? Like the bacon maple
bacon cupcake.
Oh my gosh. Those are good. Yes.
Those are good. That recipe is not out. It's going to be in my holiday cookbook when I get that done. I'm actually working on that too. So, but yeah. So maple bacon cupcakes are good. And then the no bake cookies are good as well. So yeah, I love everything that you're doing. I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy to see that you're my friend and former coworker.
Oh, thanks, Martha. I feel the same way. I'm glad that, I don't know, like you kind of inspired me a little bit to, when you were talking about Allergy Dragon and telling me all about it. And I feel like I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. Martha's doing her thing. I'm going to do mine.
Good. I'm glad. And I'm glad that we continue to be friends outside of everything and continue this relationship that we have. It's very important. And so anyway, like I said, thank you. I'm going to say thank you and thank you. So thank you very much for being here. It's been a blast. I love to always talk to you. We don't get to as much, but it's okay. So anything else you wanted to add on before we do our closing that you can think of?
I don't think so. No. Okay. Thank you for having me. And this has been fun. So.
Okay, well, I'm glad you came, made the time for me. So as always, we are going to have the links and all the information so that you can check out Elizabeth and Appetite for Balance. Please check her out if you think that you need anything from her. I think it's just great to go look at her blog and, keep your mind open. And if you can't use her, maybe somebody you know and love can. So definitely make sure you share that information with them. Go ahead and like and comment down below if you know about intuitive eating or have any questions. And, we will see you. Bye.
Bye.